Hi, I'm Charlotte and I'm a Speak Out champion.
Hi, I'm Morag. I'm also a Speak Out champion.
And I'm Susannah, and I'm a co-founder of the campaigning charity Make Space for Girls. And we want parks and other public spaces to be designed better with teenage girls in mind.
So, Susannah, you co-founded Make Space for Girls. Was there a particular moment or public space that you saw that then inspired the idea to create Make Space for Girls?
Absolutely. There's two things that really set us going. The first was Caroline Criado Perez's book, Invisible Women, where she's got just 2 or 3 pages about parks and public spaces. And I'm a feminist and I have a teenage daughter who's also a ranger. And I thought, good, I've never seen this. I, of all people, should have seen this, and I just hadn't even noticed it. So then I looked at the town I lived in, which has a BMX track and a fenced pitch, and it's got a skate park. And I went, oh, this is really rubbish, isn't it? And so that was really how we got started.
Susannah, could you tell us a little bit about the work you have been doing recently, campaigns or research?
We've got a lot going on. We've been working with the LSE in a programme of engagement with teenage girls, which is long form workshops where they get to really think about public space. They're taken on as apprentices by the LSE and do a course in public space, and then so we find out a lot about how it works for them, but they also learn about how to influence the built environment. We've just done our Park Watch campaign, where which is a sort of citizen science project, where we got people to go into their local parks and count who was on the facilities and how many of those were girls. And the results are pretty grim. They're coming out at the end of September. And the basic headline figure is that 90% of the facilities are used 90% by boys and young men. So girls are not really doing very well out of this at all. We spend a lot of time talking to people, trying to influence people. So to developers, to architects, to councils, to try, because we're a very small charity, we can't do it. Our job is to try and persuade other people that they really need to take this on and make a change.
It's really interesting. Excuse me. Make Space for Girls has worked alongside Speak Out since we first came up with the plan to build the Owner's Own campaign. Why do you think this is such an important campaign and that the timing is right now?
I think the timing is right now because there's been a lot of stuff going on with Me Too and with Sarah Everard case where people understand that we need change in the built environment and they're really ready to do it. We're particularly pleased to be working with the Speak Out champions because this is, in a way, this is not my fight. I'm too old. I'm not too old to go on the swings, but most people think I'm too old to go on the swings. We really need girls and young women like you to be taking this and running with it and arguing for change, because it's your voices that people need to listen to, not mine.
What do you think the Scottish and UK government should be doing to help us make public spaces safer for girls and young women?
I think that there's a lot that the government can do. The pleasing thing is that in the new planning legislation, the draft planning legislation, the Scottish government has actually included some of Make Space Girls' work. So the process is happening. I think it needs to be embedded in planning policies, which so often are just like, oh yeah, a Mooger and a skate park, please, really? In planning policy? And I also think that what's going on in Glasgow and Edinburgh, who are both councils have set out about gender mainstreaming. So putting the idea of gender at the forefront in all of their planning policies. And that's the kind of broad approach that is really going to make change. At the same time, a lot of the change has to happen on a more local level. And so it's really down to every council going out there, taking a look, going, is this working? Shall we talk to the girls who live locally? Can we do this better?
So safety is a barrier to stop girls going into parks. Is there anything being done to prevent this?
The really good news is, yes, there is. Leeds University did some research about what stops women and girls using parks and how they feel about safety. And we were then part of a group along with Keep Britain Tidy, who run the Green Flag Awards for parks, and the West Yorkshire Combined Authority and Leeds University, who put together some guidance for safer parks. So this is now being massively distributed by the Green Flag Awards, and it's going to be part of how they judge parks. So safety is going to be embedded now much more into how people see parks, and it's a really good, really wide-ranging set of guidance. It's not just about cutting back vegetation, it's about engaging with girls and young women, doing night walks so that girls and women can tell the people who run the park where feels safe and where doesn't. So that's really good. And I'm hoping that that will really start to make a change and make people think about safety when they're designing and maintaining parks.
Are there any other key steps that we've not yet discussed that are important in making public spaces safer and more inclusive for girls?
I think the other thing we need is more research, because research is very persuasive. And at the moment, people don't know. They just go, well, I've seen some girls on the skate park, so that's okay. So the more statistics we have that talk about both what the problem is in terms of what girls are and aren't doing, but also that talks to girls about what they want, and then researches what happens when we put these in. Does it work? Because in a park in Sweden, they co-designed it with teenage girls, and girls' usage of that space compared to other parks went up from 20% to 50%. So then you can see, if you can see that the change is working, that research then helps other people take it on board.
Do you have anything final that you would like to add, Susannah?
I would like your campaign to travel far and wide across Scotland and reach as many people as possible, and I really look forward to seeing what happens to it.
Thank you so much for your time today and letting us ask you these questions about our Own campaign.
Thank you for having me, and also really a huge thank you for taking this on for your campaign, because we're really pleased.